Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Talk about a picture-perfect day. That's exactly what we have in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado, as Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball. Tonight, it's the Reds against the Rockies in Game 2 of the three-game set. Hi, hello, and welcome to Denver, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch and Jim Day, I'm George Grant. Of course, the Reds lost a tough one last night in the bottom of the ninth inning to the Rockies, but they've got Johnny Cueto on the mound today. That's always good news.
Momentum is the next day's starting pitcher, right? And you've got it with Johnny Cueto. We've said that a lot this year and over the years, really, when Johnny Cueto would take the ball after a Reds loss, especially an ugly one like he did. But, you know, he's a guy that has had some ugly games lately as well. Cueto's a guy, though, that you got to figure that he's been on the trade block. And you're just wondering, July the 7th, when he pitched against the Nationals in Washington, he was as good as we've seen him in forever. And then he goes the last couple of starts out there against Miami Marlins and the Indians, and he did not pitch well at all. And I got to talking with Johnny Cueto in the clubhouse the other day, and he finally admitted to me that all this trade talk really does get to him. I mean, he stands on the mound at Great American Ballpark. He looks around, and all he has ever known is the Reds, and now he knows he probably won't be pitching for the Reds back at home anymore. And believe me, he's a sensitive guy, and it gets to him. And I think in part, those performances recently can be blamed on that.
And there's been talk, of course, in both clubhouses and clubhouses all around baseball that Cueto might be traded this week, as early as this week. We'll keep an eye on that. But one guy that he's going to have in his clear sights tonight is Carlos Gonzalez. Cargo, 2 home runs last night. Looks like he's heating up.
Well, he's made some adjustments. There's no doubt about it. His legs are healthy now, and he's a little bit more upright, and you better make some good pitches on him because right now, the way he's swinging the bat, he will tattoo the ball if you leave it out over the dish. He's a guy that you've got to be aware of where he is in the on-deck circle, meaning where you are in the lineup. And Gonzalez brings that power / gap-to-gap power with him up there, and he's a tough hombre right now.
And the Rockies hope to get some strength from their starting pitching, which has been a problem all year long.
You know, if you just grade this young left-hander by his stuff, it's not really that great, but he's a real competitor. He doesn't give up. He can pitch at both sides of the plate. He changes speeds, and he's a guy that has pitched very well against the Reds this year already, so the Reds have a little payback of their own to give to him.
Reds have lost 5 of their last 7, hopeful to find a way to win a game. What's been the story of their last 4 tough losses? JD will have that story coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Baseball at Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. We're in the Rocky Mountains going down the Rabbits. Come on with it. I love their outdoors here in Denver, Colorado. My producer says it looks like Jim Kelch. I beg to differ. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm Jim Day on the field, and if the Reds are going to win tonight, they're obviously going to do it behind the arm of Johnny Cueto, but they're going to have to dip into that bag of resiliency because the last four have been tough. As we check out our our Elk and Elk storylines for tonight, brought to you by Elk and Elk. Last four losses: Sunday against the Indians. The Indians scored 2 runs in the top of the 11th to win. Monday, the Cubs and Kyle Schwarber hit that home run to tie it in the 9th, and then he hit a home run in the 13th to win it. Wednesday, Cubs Teagarden hits a game-winning single in the top of the 9th off of Chapman, and then last night the Rockies win on a walk-off wild pitch in the 9th. So the last 4 losses for Cincinnati have been very, very tough to swallow. What will happen tonight? Well, I mentioned Cueto. How about Votto Matic? He could lead the charge because he is on fire. He is due up when we come back on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio.
Day to bring you Reds baseball. Game 2 of the 3-game set. Let's check Brian Price's Myers Red starting lineup for Game 2 of this series as the Reds take the field against this Rockies team. Leading it off will be Brandon Phillips. Phillips with a 6-game hitting streak. And during that 6-game hitting streak, has hit over 350. Joey Votto, another big day yesterday, 3 for 5, including his 18th home run. He's hit in 7 of his last 8. Todd Frazier had a big run-scoring double last night. He hits third. Jay Bruce behind him. Pena, Bird, Suarez, Cueto in the 8th spot, and Billy Hamilton bats in the number 9 position. That's your Meyer starting lineup. And on the mound for the Colorado Rockies, it is 28-year-old left-hander Chris Russin.
Well, this left-hander now making it the 10th start of the year. He's got a 3-3 record, a 3.8 earned run average. He's pitched once already against the Reds this year, and he pitched quite well. 7 innings of very fine baseball. That was actually his Colorado Rockies debut when Jorge De La Rosa, the scheduled starter, was scratched at the last minute. And they brought this lefty up to fill the gap, and he certainly did a nice job. Not overpowering by any means. What you're going to get is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a cutter, a sinker, a changeup, an occasional slider, maybe even a curveball mixed in there from time to time. And he's a guy that the Reds have had a hard time figuring out, at least this year. You've got to be a little bit patient. Just because he goes out there and throws strikes doesn't mean you have to hack early in the count, because he does not have a put-away pitch that really should put any kind of fear in hitters.
Let's check your forward defensive alignment for the Rockies. Neither team committed a miscue last night. The Rockies 8th in the league in defense with 57 errors on the season. Dickerson in left, Blackman outstanding in center field. He leads National League outfielders with 8 outfield assists. 7 of them have come from center field. And a former Gold Glove winner, Carlos Gonzalez, is over in right. Arenado, Gold Glove winner last year. Tulowitzki at short. LeMahieu, a Gold Glove winner last year. And Paulson's down at first. And Hundley, who's done a great job behind the plate after stints in San Diego and Baltimore, catching Russ in here tonight. That is your forward defensive alignment. Time of the night with an earlier start tonight, where there are 2 tricky parts of the field right now. First, the shadows between home and the pitcher's mound. And secondly, with that sun peeking over the left field corner, there's a small spot, and Phillips digs in, where a throw from third can be problematical for the first baseman, depending on where it comes from, because he's looking right into the sunlight. Strike 1 to the Reds leadoff hitter, Brandon Phillips. That's a bouncer down to Tulowitzki. Sidearm flip to first, and there's one away.
Really not so bad from shortstop as it is from third base. So any of those players who may have played in the International League, George, come up through the AAA and played in Pawtucket, they have seen exactly the same configuration there, where the third baseman almost has to roll the ball to the first baseman, because the first baseman on a sunny day simply can't pick those throws up.
There's a peek at it, and it's right by the third base bag that it is the most difficult with the angle of that sun. Good to allude to all McCoy Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Of course, the Red Sox have just taken over ownership of that club. They're talking about building a new stadium down in downtown Providence and moving the team from Pawtucket.
It's only really about 32 miles from Boston, right, from Fenway Park?
Yep.
Say it's a long 32 miles.
Great baseball tradition there. They made it to the AAA championship game 2 of the last 3 years. Here's Joey. Votto in at 302, 18 homers, 46 knocked in. Boy, is he hot. 3 for 5 last night, including that home run. They will overshift against him with Arenado in the shortstop spot and Tulowitzki on the grass behind the second base bag. Two balls and 1 strike to the Reds first baseman. He shows bunt. Joey tried to bunt last night and bunted it foul down the third base line. This one he just missed completely, and it's 2-2. Now it's time for tonight's IGS bringing the energy numbers. Joey, since the All-Star break, he has hit in 7 of 8, 548 average, including the 3 home runs and 6 multi-hit games. Pretty good numbers, Chris.
Those are All-Star numbers. I'm wondering if maybe Votto really wants to make a statement, a personal statement. You have to figure that he felt someone left out. The fact that he did not make the All-Star game this year, a year in which Cincinnati hosted all the All-Stars, and he probably hunkered down at home and thought, I better put on a pretty good second half. And he is off to a great second half start.
3-2 line foul. He is a driven personality in that he wants to be the best that he could be. He wants to produce the numbers that he feels he's capable of producing. He doesn't really answer to anybody else's drum other than his own drum beat. And you know that he sat home during the All-Star break, first tinkering with his swing mentally and then physically, but also trying to take a second half and make those who didn't vote him to the All-Star game take notice. 3-2 again. 2 Hopper down to second. LeMahieu has it. Votto's retired, and there's 2 away. Oh, what a picture-perfect day today. 90 degrees at the start of tonight's ball game. Temperature in the low 90s during the afternoon today. Humidity 18%, Chris, and that's the beauty of Denver, huh?
Well, it is the beauty of Denver as far as human creature comfort. But when it comes to pitching, that is not necessarily a friend of pitchers. Ball flies good here. It is a ballpark where it's tough to get good spin on your breaking ball. In fact, sliders seem to work better here than slow curveballs.
For a guy who pitched here in the minor leagues you learn something when you pitch here. You learn something about this city, but you also learn something about how difficult it is to pitch on a regular basis. Fastball missing in, but swing and a miss, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
You seem to have to grind it out more here because an inning can get away from you here just like a snap of a finger. You cannot walk batters because anybody in the lineup has got home run power, including the pitcher. And you need to change speeds, and so far Russin has done exactly that. Got Joey Votto on a little sinking fastball down around the knees on a 3-2 pitch. Has Frazier way out ahead of that last swing. And you can't be afraid in this ballpark. If you're worried about how far the ball flies, then you're going to have a bad outing. I mean, you've got to be ultra aggressive, meaning pitch to both sides of the plate. And hitters have to kind of be relaxed. They have to know that in this ballpark, the pressure's on the pitcher and not on the hitter.
Larry Benarth, former Major League pitcher and pitching coach, was the advisor to Bob Gebhardt when they came here, and they said to be successful here, you got to stay down, you've got to cut the grass high in the infield, and you need 3 guys in the outfield that can run like heck. And he said you need sinker ball pitchers. And of course, remember, they brought Billy Swift here, a veteran sinker ball pitcher, when they first moved to Denver in the early 1990s. They first played ball here in the major leagues in '93. A big hop down to short, picking off his shoe tops is Tulowitzki. Boy, he made a tough play look easy. 3 ground balls. The Reds go 1-2-3. There were rumors today that Johnny Cueto might be traded. Well, he's taking the mound for the Reds tonight. Park earlier today that the Reds may have reached an agreement to trade number 47, Johnny Cueto, but right up until game time, everyone had their eyes peering into the Reds dugout. In fact, Michael Lorenzen started loosening up out in the bullpen and long tossed, and finally Johnny Cueto came out, and Chris, he's going to take the mound for his 19th start of the year. Well, he's had a pretty good year too. Obviously the earned run average is very good. He has not had much in the way of run support. That explains the 500 record of 6 wins and 6 losses. In his 18 appearances, he's had 11 quality starts. The league has hit around 200 against him all year long, and that's where it stands coming in today. Overall, 199 batting average against him. That's darn good. A strike one delivery to a guy who has been outstanding. Charlie Blackmon last night really won the game almost by himself in the bottom of the 9th inning. Reached on a bunt hit with the overshift against him. He stole second, went to third, and then scored on a wild pitch on an aggressive play. This one hit a mile to the upper deck, but away foul. That's a big bomb from Blackmon, who has 12 homers. We were impressed by him the last couple of years. Last year he was an all-star, and watching him this year, Chris, he's maturing even more. We've seen him make adjustments at the plate. I mean, you talk about pitchers making adjustments. Here's a hitter that makes adjustments. Votto gloves it. One away, Blackmon retired. Let's check that Colorado Rockies starting lineup for Walt Weiss. Weiss, the veteran major league infielder, 14 years in the majors, will send Blackman as his leadoff hitter. DJ LeMahieu bats second. Tulowitzki in the number 3 spot. Carlos Gonzalez, who had the 2 home runs last night, hits in the cleanup spot. Nolan Arenado, another all-star along with LeMahieu, hits 5th. Dickerson, Paulson, Hundley, and Russin. That is 1 through 9, your Colorado Rockies starting lineup. Here's LeMahieu. Last night reached on a walk and a single. He was credited with a single when he hit one off the wall and right. Really should have been a double, but the story of the play was Eddie Butler, who stumbled twice between second and third, and then third and home. He was unable to score. And when we came out to the ballpark today, we've seen it before, Chris. Remember the the wall plastered sign of a player slamming against the wall trying to make a catch? Well, they had Eddie Butler's body drawn in the dirt between third and home. Had a little fun with him.
The chalk out lines. Yeah, that was some bad base running last night.
2 balls, 1 strike.
You know, for the Rockies, it ended up okay because they ended up winning the ball game. Had they lost that ball game, I'm not so sure that they would have even gone out and had that much fun, you know, drawing the chalk body figures and so on out there on the baselines. But he showed us how not to do it when you're on the baseball field.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Just miss it inside, says Bob Davidson, who's the home plate umpire, the veteran arbiter. Hunter Wendelstadt at first, Marvin Hudson at second, and Pat Holberg, who was last night's home plate umpire, down at third. LeMahieu, 14-game hitting streak, longest active in Major League Baseball, a product of LSU. The bouncer off Cueto's glove. Can Phillips make the play? He does. Nice job by Brandon to get there and make the play.
Well, there's Johnny on the spot, and then there's Brandon on the spot. This ball goes off the glove. It looks like, yep, tips right off the tip of the glove by Johnny, but there's Brandon Phillips to make the play, barehanded. I mean, you almost come to believe that anything is possible when a ball is hit out there in the infield, and Brandon Phillips is near it.
There's ability and there's instincts. He has the combination of both and a flair to boot. Here's Tulowitzki, 309, 12 homers, 52 knocked in. Troy had an 0 for 4 night last night. Struck out once and questioned a number of calls from the home plate umpire, Pat Holberg. Fouled into the right field seats. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Tulowitzki is signed till 2020. When he's healthy, if you're putting together a baseball draft, he would be one of the first players you would take. And this year he is healthy again, finally. Hopped up. Is there going to be room? Giving chase his Pena, but he'll run out of room. Let's check your forward defensive alignment behind Johnny Cueto for the Reds. The Reds, with 50 miscues on the year, come into tonight with Bird in left, Hamilton in center, and Bruce in right. Frazier, Suarez, Phillips, and Votto across the infield, and Pena behind the plate for Johnny Cueto. That's the Cincinnati forward defensive alignment. To short. Suarez has it. That'll do it. So 3 quick innings, 6 ground ball outs for these 2 pitchers. Bruce leads it off when we return.
running heroics from last night, and it was a moment for him, well, to forget. Coming around third base, and this is a problem when he fell not once, but twice. And when we got to the ballpark today, there's the chalk lines that you guys are talking about right there. They put it right there by third base and then going to home. And they took this a step farther, guys, up into the clubhouse steps to the clubhouse door. They had white tape going clear to the clubhouse door. And right by the clubhouse door was another outline of a body, and it simply said, Butler. So they had some fun with him.
The Butler did it. He sure did. And now, as we were talking about, JD, it makes a whole lot of difference if you win the game. If you lose it, he's crawling into a hole after the game ended last night. They will overshift on Jay Bruce, 3 to the right side of the second base bag, and Arenado at shortstop. Jay at 250, 15 homers and 49 knocked in. JD, maybe you can take us behind the scenes a little bit. We were all scurrying around the ballpark all day long. There's a fly ball down the left field line. Dickerson over in foul territory. He holds on. Got it. One away. There was a period of time where we didn't know whether Johnny Cueto was going to make this start tonight, huh?
Well, while Jocketty has all his brass in town, and any time that the general manager hunkers down in a manager's office for a long period of time during the trade deadline week, you think that something is up. And at this point, at least it proved to be a false alarm for now. And then when we saw Michael Lorenzen throwing in the outfield, who's scheduled to start tomorrow with the off day, this would be his 5th day. He could have easily started tonight. You start to speculate. It's just one of those things in baseball where you kind of latch on to every piece of information you can get, and there's a lot of speculation going on. And until Johnny Cueto threw that first pitch, we weren't sure who was going to pitch. But right now, he's the man, still a Cincinnati Red.
Take us inside the clubhouse. We walk through there every day, and obviously at this time of the year when two teams are not in a pennant race, there's a ground ball through on the left side, a base hit. Brian Pena gets a single. The Reds have their first base runner. Do you feel pressure mounting? Do you feel uncertainty mounting as you walk through that clubhouse? There's
no question. You guys have been in many, many clubhouses many more years than me. And to say that they'll politically correctly say that they're not thinking about it, it's not bothering them. But, Chris, you talk to Johnny Cueto. You can't help but be on a guy's mind. And even Brian Price said a guy like Johnny Cueto, Brian Price has been there since 2010, and he feels like he grew up underneath of him. And in fact, Brian Price was with the Arizona Diamondbacks when Cueto made his major league debut in 2008. So there's a personal connection there, and it's hard not to have the human side of baseball. These guys are with each other every day from mid-February clear into October at least. And you get close with the guy, and it's just the human part of it, and it is the tough part of the game.
Thanks, JD. And as a great baseball mind once said, Chris, love the game, hate the business, right? But it's part of the business.
But nowadays, George, you're really not, again, I'm stealing this from someone else, but you're not trading players, you're trading contracts. And the only reason the Reds are even considering trading away Johnny Cueto or Mike Leake or Aroldis Chapman or fill in the blank is because of the business part of the game. A market the size of Cincinnati just can't sustain keeping all their players and the salaries that they would eventually have to have in order to stay around. So,
and make no mistake about it, Brian Price, Walter Jocketty, and Bob Castellini, they don't want to trade Johnny Cueto. But the other side of it is this franchise could not afford a $200 million contract to keep him. It would not be prudent for the franchise, number one, and number two, would strap them in getting any other players. The reality of the game in this day and age, unfortunately.
Well, the other thing is, George, is that what they're doing right now evidently is not working. I mean, because they're 15 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals. So, you want to make some changes, but I'm not so sure that Johnny Cueto is the problem. In fact, I'm sure he's not.
Certainly not on the field. You're right. There's Marlon Byrd, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bird's had some success against Russ in 4 for 8. By the way, if you missed it earlier today, Philadelphia shut out Chicago. That's one part of the story, 5-0. And the big part of the story is Cole Hamels a no-hitter. So his stock just went up another notch in this trade deadline period.
Or did it? What happens to pitchers after they throw a 130-pitch no-hitter? They normally have a couple of rough outings in a row. Look what happened to Max Scherzer. Not that it's going to happen to Cole Hamels if he gets traded to another team, but you know, it certainly is it's a very interesting, and the timing of it is very interesting. But I don't think it makes the overall price for Cole Hamels jump at all.
Takes a little bit off, swing and a miss by Bird. He's retired. That's strikeout number 1 for Russin. And by the way, speaking of timing, there's another look at that pitch.
The first 3-2 count that Russin has had so far. Make it the third 3-2 count. And he gets a swing and a miss right there. The Reds really have tried to watch Russin a little bit so far in this ball game. They've not swung at the first pitch until Marlon Byrd got up there. He was the first guy to chase the first pitch that Russin threw in there. Everybody else is kind of watching him, and I'm wondering if maybe that is the strategy the Reds have decided to employ. Oftentimes you see hitters aggressive when you've got a pitcher on the mound that's got an overpowering fastball or an unhittable secondary pitch, because they don't want to get behind and then strike out. Russin's not that type of pitcher, so they're being a little bit more patient.
Down and in for a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. And speaking of right timing for a deal, how about the Houston Astros? 2 days ago they picked up Scott Kazmir. He pitched last night, beat Kansas City 4-0. They got him right at the right time. 1 ball, 1 strike to Eugenio Suarez in at 3:06. To Hopper down to the second baseman LeMahieu. He bobbles, and there's nobody to cover the bag at second, so they can't get a force. It'll go down as an error on LeMahieu, and the Reds will have 2 runners on.
Well, this is something the Colorado Rocky fans are not used to seeing at all. I think he's only got 2 errors on the season coming into tonight's ball game, and he just happens to bobble that ball into transition. Happens to the best of them. He is the reigning Gold Glove second baseman.
So let's see if the Reds can take advantage. Here's Cueto with 2 outs, hitting in the 8th spot. Hamilton behind him. Johnny steps in at 176, 6 for 34 on the season. With Arenado back, showing bunt, misses it 0-2.
You know, when Brian Price first went to the pitcher in the number 8 spot in the order, it seemed like the first 2 weeks it laid out perfectly.
Yep.
That, you know, number 6 and 7 hitter were getting on base. Here comes a number 8 hitter. Pitcher lays a bunt down, and you get things going. Lately, it seems like it's going the other way. Here you got a couple of runners on base, the inning extended with the error, and now the pitcher comes to the plate. You never really know.
Game's smarter than all of us, isn't
Yes,
it?
it sure is.
Arenado has it. They'll go to first, and they'll get the out. Pena and Arenado almost collided with each other. Cueto retired. The Reds strand a pair. Still scoreless, bottom of 2.
authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
And don't forget, you can watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. And boy, did it come in handy today. There was a bunch of us in the Reds dugout during batting practice huddled around Tomas Vera, one of the Reds trainers, that he had his MLB.com at-bat pictures of the game in Chicago with Cole Hamels going for his no-hitter in the 9th inning, and everybody's peering at his phone. Nice to be there. There's Tomas. He's always got all, he's like Tommy Hume. He's got all those guys. Remember Humey? Every place we'd go on the road, he'd end up going to some kind of an electronics store and come back with something new. I wonder what Susan did with all that when he got home.
I don't know, because electronic gadgets seem to wear out after about 2 months. But Tomas today, he's an avid bicyclist or cyclist, and he's the guy that went on a 37-mile bike ride this morning. Started at 7 a.m. Well, you were pretty busy. You and Beth were pretty busy this morning too. Yeah, we did. We didn't quite get out at that hour, but we went to the Red Rock Amphitheater where they had a sunrise yoga class. We missed that, but they had over 1,000 people there doing yoga.
1 ball, 2 strikes to the guy who was not the yoga but the culprit last night, Carlos Gonzalez. 2 home runs, 16 on the year now, 41 runs batted in, and he has certainly heated up during the month of July. Here's the 2-2. Lace to left, but coming in is Bird, and he'll glove it 1 away. Great to have you with us, George Grand, Chris Welsh, and Jim Day, here in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. Down in the truck, Josh Hall is our producer. Brian Hunterman's with us. He's our director. Matt Sigafus dialing up some highlights for us, and Lauren White graphically telling you the story of this series here in Denver. What a beautiful day for doing just about anything. Here's Arenado, 286 on the year, 24 homers, 72 knocked in. Hit hard, past Votto. They shifted to the left against him. Votto was way off the line, and he snuck that one by the bag. So a base hit for Arenado.
Sometimes you hit the ball where you least expect it, and you just can't react in time. It looks like he was simply late on that pitch and ends up getting it right down the first baseline by the first baseman.
There's Eric Young, EY Sr., the first base coach for the Colorado Rockies. Stu Cole manning the third base coach's box as usual. Well, EY could motor a little bit, couldn't he?
What a really great offensive player.
Oh. 15 years in the major leagues. This one popped up behind second. Suarez there, he's got it, and there's 2 away.
Well, it took all the way to Corey Dickerson here, 6th in the lineup, before the Rockies finally have a hitter to come up there and swing at the first pitch. Last night it seemed like both of these teams were ultra aggressive. Swinging at the first pitch against Anthony DeSclafani and against the Rockies starter Eddie Butler. Tonight both of these teams have really taken the opposite approach. They're very patient.
As Walt Weiss, 3rd year as a manager here. Brilliant defensive shortstop in his 14-year career in the major leagues. And I mean, he learned from some of the best. He played under Tony La Russa, Bobby Cox, Rene Latchman, who's on his staff now as a bench coach for him. Hit hard, but right at the shortstop Suarez, and Paulson's retired. So a base hit for Arenado, 1 stranded. Going back to work, Hamilton will lead it off for the Reds.
Here, could this be the place where he gets his first inside the park home run? I talked to Billy about that prospect.
Paul Lasoda, trainer, he always says I'm gonna get my first inside the park home run here. Here or Miami. So like I said, it's just be something I look forward to, hitting one in the gap and just see if I got a little speed that everybody talk about, because I don't think I have that much speed.
Now, guys, Billy's not going up there trying to. He's obviously trying to hit line drives and perhaps trying to hit it in the gap. But if he stays healthy and continues to get as many at-bats as he does, it's inevitable. It'll happen at some point.
Not a better place for it to happen than here. Billy struggled last night, 0 for 4, and in one of the key at-bats was unable to get a bunt down on a squeeze play. That left Tucker Barnhart hanging out to dry. Russin picks it up. Yes, says the first base umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt. Let's see, they'll give a long look into the dugout. Billy's not going anywhere. He's waiting. We'll see if the Reds with Rob Coughlin might challenge. It looks like they will not.
Very difficult for us to see because of the shadows right here. Hamilton really getting down the line. That is a bang play. Billy thought he was safe,
yep.
And I think the Reds feel like he's safe, at least enough to go ahead and ask for an official replay challenge.
They will challenge. Looks like he's there.
I don't have any question about it when you see it slowed down that slow.
We were talking last night about the scouting report on Billy, and that is, of course, get ahead and then elevate so you can prevent him from putting the ball on the ground. And talking to Blake Doyle, the hitting instructor for the Colorado Rockies before the game, he had a big smile on his face saying exactly that, Chris. If you do a favor to the opposition when this guy isn't on base. The game changes, and for the Reds, it certainly changes for the better. When Billy is on base, he wreaks havoc.
I think we're about to get a scoring change right here.
It won't take long. Safe. So, bunt base hit for Billy Hamilton, his first hit of this series, and let's see if he'll be off and running. Russin, the left-hander, with a compact move. Billy's stolen 45 of 52. And bunting for base hits, Chris, he's getting better.
So if you see this bottom number right here, this 9 for 14, why isn't he bunting at least once a game?
Once a night.
Or maybe twice a game. Or more.
Here's Brandon, bounced to short first time up. Short lead for Hamilton. And the game plan for the Rockies, Walt Weiss admitted it. He said they'll throw over a lot when Billy is on, and they'll hold the ball.
Yeah, and but left-handers have a different scope of things, George. Holding the ball is one thing when you're a left-hander. I think it works better for right-handers. Left-handers, you just want to vary your moves a little bit. And he did vary the amount of time he held the ball right there. Never really let Billy get into a rhythm of getting a lead at first base.
Jim Riggleman in the third base coach's box rolls through some signs. Billy Hatcher coaching first for the Reds. Dips in right behind Hamilton. A little bigger lead for Billy now. Not going. That's inside. Brandon checks his third base coach again. Very seldom is a hold ever put on Billy Hamilton.
No, very, very seldom. I wonder, though, if the angle of that sun is going to affect the throw from the pitcher to the first baseman.
Not going. Foul down the third baseline, 1-2. 45 of 52. He leads all of Major League Baseball in stolen bases. That sure puts a smile on Reds fans' faces, huh, Chris?
Well, compared to last year, his success rate last year was right around 71%. This year, he's bumped that up to over 86%. So he's stealing wiser right now. He's being more efficient. He's picking better times to steal. And 45 bases leads the major leagues, but as you've said many times, George, it's not how many you have stolen bases, it's when you have them. And it's very important in low-scoring ball games to, sometimes save them for when you need them the most.
Joe Morgan always stole them when you needed them. Charlie Blackmon did exactly that for the Rockies last night in the bottom of the 9th inning, and it proved to be one of the keys to the game. There goes Billy, gets a big break, and there's a dribbler down the right side into right, a base hit. It'll be 1st and 3rd for the Reds. Chris, you talked about, the scenario in the 8th or 9th with Cueto seemed like it has not been working out. Well, here's a El Perfecto putting the runner in motion and dribbling a ball through the right side for a base hit.
Well, just trying to go and get a ground ball is Chris Russian out there, and he does get that ground ball, but with the second baseman covering, Brandon Phillips fools the coverage. And even though it wasn't really a hit and run, it has the effect of being a hit and run with Hamilton going to 3rd.
So no one out, and here comes Votto. Joey first time up. Bounce to the second baseman on a 3-2 pitch. In his career, he's 2 for 10 against Russin. That misses inside for ball 1. They'll keep the infield double play depth. A deep shortstop is Tulowitzki, and in tight at second is LeMahieu. That's a strike. 1-1. Russin, 128 minor league starts. Came up in the Cubs organization and really a gift to the Colorado Rockies. Claimed off waivers in September of last year. Line drive center field. That'll drop for a hit, and easily scoring will be Billy Hamilton. So Votto delivers again. He had 3 hits last night. 1 for 2 again here tonight. That is run batted in number 47, and the Reds have a 1-0 lead.
The guy is simply on fire. There's no question. I mean, they got him out the first time on a ground ball, but you give him a pitch out over the center of the plate. One thing for certain right now, he's going to get the solid part of the bat on the ball. May not fall in for a base hit, but you're looking at a line drive waiting to happen when number 19 comes to the plate about now.
Well, Billy scampers home with a run, and here comes Frazier. He bounced to short first time up. Phillips at second, and they'll try to pick him off. He'll get back.
Well, this has one of those potentials this inning for a huge, really, number on the board for the Reds. Russin, second time around, the Reds have had a chance to see him. He's given up 3 consecutive base hits. You got the middle of the order coming up. This is the time when the Reds can really get out there and step on the throat of the Rockies. And it's something that they have not done here really since the All-Star break.
Frazier 1 for 5 and a homer against this lefty. A big swing here can get the Reds off and rolling here in game 2 of the series. Boy, you watch the Rockies on TV, or when we saw them in May back in Cincinnati, and you evaluate a team from year to year. Hundley's done a tremendous job behind the plate. Paul Weiss says it. His pitching coach Steve Foster concurs. Not only has he provided offense, and here's a drill job left. If it stays fair, it's gone. That's going to be foul. No more than about 4 or 5 feet. Man, oh man. One ball, 1 strike. He was all over that one. Hit pretty good to right. Going back, looking up. It will be off the top of the wall and gone. Well, he didn't go out to left. He goes out to right. Todd Frazier drills one to right field. Home run for Frazier, number 27, a 3-run shot. And the Reds open up a 4-0 lead here in Denver.
Well, patience has really paid off for the Reds here in this inning.
On the year, 27, and for the career, Chris, there is number 100 for Todd Frazier.
It's got to feel so good for Todd Frazier. I mean, this year overall. But he looks so confident at the plate. He just seems like when he steps to the plate, he just feels like he's going to hit the ball hard somewhere. And after that loss last night, this ball club really needed to put a number on the board that really make them feel good. And when I refer to patience in this game, you know, Phillips, Votto, and Frazier have all taken the first pitch 2 times in both of their bats. So, you know, they're seeing a lot of Russian, and he doesn't have the kind of stuff that's really going to put you away. So why go out there and get yourself out on a pitch that you don't see too well? The more you see from this left-hander, the better you're going to be. And that's just a nice, smooth, powerful swing.
Right off the top of the scoreboard and into the seats. 4-0 Cincinnati. And, you know, you said it early on, Chris, that Russin does really not have a pitch that can put you away. So he can get to 2 strikes, but there's not a lot of fear that'll put you away. Big swing from the Toms River Tomahawker. Everybody back home's got a smile on their face. Half the families at Ocean City probably enjoying the summer. This one blooped into short center. Long run, not there in time, will be Blackman, and it's a base hit. So a big bomb and then a bloop. Jay Bruce 1 for 2, and the Reds inning continues, still no one out.
Well, just about everything that could go the Reds' way has gone the Reds' way this inning. Hamilton has a review of an out call at first base. That gets overturned. He steals second base, and in the process, the second baseman covers the bag. Brandon Phillips dribbles a little ground ball for a base hit.
So Bruce on. And here's Pena. They got him picked. And he's out. Well, the Reds go to the well trying to steal one against Russin. Caught stealing first out of the inning.
I don't know. With the way the Reds are hitting this guy, do you want to make outs on the base paths? I mean, I'm all for being aggressive. There's no doubt about it. But there's a time I think that fits a little bit better. Obviously, Russin is having one of those games and where things are not going well for him. Why hand him an out?
Pena dribbles it foul, a ball and a strike. You know, it seemed like everything in that 9th inning last night, Chris, conspired against the Reds. And as you just talked about, in this inning, some of those 50-50 plays have helped the Reds to their 4-run lead. Big swing 1 and 2.
You know, we just saw Todd Frazier pull the bat boy aside and talk to him. And I'm just wondering, George, given the fact that that was home run number 100, I wonder if he's trying to put into motion the procedure to maybe trying to get that baseball back so that he could place it on his mantle next to the home run derby championship trophy that he's got.
I would hope. I mean, I would think Rob Butcher's already working on that. We'll have to have JD check that out and track it down. We could give him a signed Jim Day Fox Sports Ohio cap. Trade him.
I think he's probably going to head up into that area and maybe find the person that has it or had it and negotiate a deal.
Pena retired for the second out. Here's Bird, who struck out first time up. Suarez on deck for the Reds. Ripped into left. That's a base hit for Bird. So Bird, who came in 4 for 8 against Russin after striking out, drills this base hit to left, and the Reds with 2 outs have another runner on, and here's Suarez. There you see Bird shading his eyes, and right behind him Billy Hatcher the same, trying to get a read on the pitcher in between Sunshine. Paulson saying, yeah, you guys only do it once in a while. I got to do it all night. This early start creates a problem this time of the year with that shot.
I would think, though, George, that this would really act as in a favor of the home team. They're the ones that has to.
Yep.
They see it more. They probably can develop a strategy a lot more efficient than what the Rockies, than what a visiting team would do, which is maybe don't throw over to first base.
Ripped past the second baseman LeMahieu on the overshift. Rounding first, going to second will be Bird. And all the way to third will be Marlins. So Marlins at third, Suarez is at first, and the Reds first and third. Now you take back that stolen base, and the Reds would have another run.
Well, Russin now has faced, 8 batters in this inning, and he has retired only one of them. He did pick a guy off for the second out of the inning, but the strikeout of Pena is the only out that he's gotten. And right now, with a little bit less than major league average stuff, his location's not very good tonight. And that's a combination that'll probably get you to the bullpen pretty quickly. That and the fact that he's right around 60 pitches.
I think that's exactly what Russin just did. He turned around to take a look at the bullpen, see if anybody was up. No one is up right now. He does have Cueto coming to the plate here. Johnny bounced out in the second inning. That came with 2 runners on. Low for ball 1 to the Reds pitcher. Again, shows bunt, fouls it off, and it's 1-1. .32 pitches in the first 2 innings for Russin, and this is his 30th pitch of this inning. Two. Finally gets out of the inning, but 9 come to the plate for the Reds here in the third. The big bomb was home run number 100 of his career for Todd Frazier. That gave the Reds a 3-run boost and a 4-0 lead. Thousand fans in attendance receive a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Well, we ask and we shall receive. JD, what are you doing out in right field?
Well, we're in the second row out here, and what happened with Todd Frazier's home run ball is it went back into the field of play, and Carlos Gonzalez, I'm sure not knowing that it was Frazier's 100th career home run, threw it up into the stands. This gentleman sitting in front of me caught the ball from Carlos Gonzalez, turned around, and gave it to young Jack here. And I'm with his father, Devin, and I understand that you guys are willing to perhaps broker a little deal to give Todd Frazier his ball for maybe some signed stuff.
Absolutely. Don't you think, Jack, he ought to have his 100th home run? Don't you think so?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, though, that you got to know that the 100th career home run, and this is an all-star player. He won the home run derby, and you've got his 100th career home run ball. How cool is that?
Cool. Really cool.
All right, well, so we'll work on it with the Reds and see what happens here. But we've got the 100th ball, and Frazier's going to owe me one on this one.
Well, JD, we talk about it. We're first at the ballpark, first into the clubhouse to hear from the manager after the game, and you're first for the Reds to get the story of that ball. By the way, you offer me anything from your Reds packet of goodies from Fox Sports Ohio?
I might throw in a keychain because those are big. those are big items.
There's a fly ball to center. Boy, he's a big-time spender.
Well, you know, some of those items from that quiz show that we have are pretty valuable. And he put a little goodie bag together, Jim. Maybe not only the keychain, but maybe the koozie cup or one of the other things that you're able to put together. I'm sure that you could not only get that ball from those young men up there in right field, but maybe even make them longtime Todd Frazier fans.
You know what? You might be a converted one. They're from the area here, Rockies fans, but if Todd Frazier was a Colorado Rocky, they would love the guy. So he's one of those guys that is easy to like in baseball.
As usual, great job, JD.
Yeah, JD, congratulations on beating Rob Butcher up there. Good job. I know you're hustling all the time, and nice to get you up there and on the spotlight and out there with the common fan, because I know I saw you going up the aisle from where your perch is inside of the dugout. They were giving high fives all the way up to Reds fans. So see if you can't do a little converting while you're up there.
We will try. We're going to try to broker a deal right here. This is a first right here. It's usually Rob Butcher, but I'm going to be the middleman on this one.
Good job, JD. 2 quick outs. Russin strikes out, and here's Charlie Blackmon back at the top of the order. 2 outs here in the third for the Reds. When it's all said and done, Chris, your career's all over. 100th baseball sitting on your mantle for the Frazier family will be pretty neat.
Well, all of the stuff that you collect along the way is neat one way or another, but that one is going to have a little story attached to it. That it hit the railing before it went into the stands, or they bounced back onto the field.
Now, of all the things from your career, what do you cherish the most?
Boy, George, you know, one thing, I have an audio cassette tape of Joe Nuxhall interviewing me as a rookie when I shut out the Reds. And he and I both were having fun, and we both sounded nervous.
Round and third, heading for home. Johnny Cueto zip, zip, zip in the third. The Reds have a 4-0 lead. Hamilton, who started it all with a base hit, starts it again. Hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Here's Billy. Hamilton started it all, leading off in the top of the third. On a challenge infield base hit that the Reds won, as he tried to bunt his way on and was successful after the challenge. So he starts it off here in the top of inning number 4. The Reds sent 9 to the plate in the third, if you joined us late. 6 hits and 4 runs. The big swing, Frazier's 100th career home run. 1 ball, 1 strike to the Red center fielder. Phillips and Votto to follow. He rolls one to the right side, almost got it by the first baseman Paulson. It rolls foul. We'll try it again, 1-2.
You know, when Norris Hopper did that as a right-handed hitter for the Reds, and this is one of the reasons why he etched himself out a decent major league career, because he could bunt, especially against left-handed pitching. He would bunt that halfway area between pitcher's mound and first base, and he would force the first baseman to field the ball. He'd bunt it right in here, and he'd beat the pitcher to the first base bag. And Billy Hamilton is beginning to, I think, realize how important that can be as part of his game.
That's a base hit to center. And you know, Delano Shields, the manager down now at Louisville for the Reds, has spent so much time the last couple of years in a situation like that with a left-hander on the mound. Delano, just as Tim Raines told Delano when he was coming up in Montreal, the key player is the second baseman. Where LeMahieu is and was against Billy, there's no way if he bunts it past the pitcher that LeMahieu can ever get to first to cover the bag with the first baseman charging. It's a weapon that, as Billy gets better, it'll be more lethal for him. Here's Brandon. Phillips bounced to short first time up, and then with Billy running in the third, he dribbled one through the right side of the infield to put runners at first and third for the Reds.
All right, now what do you do if you're the Rockies? If Billy Hamilton goes to second base, does the second baseman cover or does the shortstop cover? Last time second baseman covered and he opened a hole on the right side of the infield.
It appears the second baseman was covering again that time.
Russin really hurrying it up there. He's very aware that Billy Hamilton might steal at any time. I mean, this is a pitcher's worst nightmare when you get him on with nobody out. It's one thing with 2 out, you can almost say, all right, go ahead and steal second, and you can even steal third if you want. All I've got is one guy to get out of the inning. But you're looking down the line at Votto and then Frazier, who's already taking you deep for a home run. And that's why Hamilton can make you feel so uncomfortable.
Trying to go to right field again is Phillips. This time it's fouled off. Action in the bullpen for the Rockies for the first time tonight as nobody out, one on again. Good news is for the runner at first, now that as the sun starts to set here in Denver, no longer you're peering into that horizon with the sun glaring in your face as you lead off first. No balls, 2 strikes to Phillips. Throw over one more time. Good at bats by Phillips with Votto on deck. Chris, still with 2 strikes, he's still looking to go to the right side.
Well, he's trying to put the bat on the ball, and Russin is the guy that will give you that opportunity. He even on pitches that are on the inner part of the plate, because he doesn't throw an overpowering fastball, you can take that ball the other way.
There goes Billy. This one bounced down to third, but foul. The running game so important to him and so important to this club, and you see the guy who spent so much time with him down in that first base coach's box, Billy Hatcher. What a great base stealer he was, Chris, and he little by little is trying to impart knowledge every day in the clubhouse and on the field to help Billy be the best he could be. Swing and a miss on the changeup way out in front is Phillips. He's retired. First out of the inning.
Billy Hatcher plays much more an important role in this ball club than just first base coach. I mean, he is one of the most knowledgeable baseball guys you'll ever talk to, and you can strike him up about any topic in baseball at all, and he'll come up with maybe a little insight that you haven't even thought about before. And if players aren't listening to him, it's their own fault, because he's a wealth of knowledge.
Now here's the situation. Here's Votto. They'll overshift. If Hamilton steals, he could go all the way to third, with Arenado way over in the shortstop spot.
Well, that's where the pitcher's got to be heads up and realize that you cover the bag right there. I mean, if you see Billy Hamilton taking off, whether it's on a pickoff throw, you've got to go to first base, maybe getting a rundown. But on just a straight stolen base, you've got to turn around and head to third base, and maybe it should be the catcher, Nick Hundley, to remind him about that. But keep in mind that Joey Votto is not one of those hitters that really likes runners running when he's in the batter's box. Some guys just don't like that. They get distracted. Votto's made that clear.
In the dirt, good block by Hundley. Ball 1 to Votto. Joey first time up on a 3-2 pitch, grounded his second, and in the third hit a bullet line drive to center field that produced the first run for the Reds in a 4-run inning. After his single plated Hamilton, Frazier followed with a 3-run homer. One ball, one strike. Missing wide, and it's 2-1. There goes Billy. They got him picked. The throw will be wide, and Billy's on his way to third. Stolen base for Hamilton. It'll be an error on the first baseman Paulson to allow him to go to third. Stolen base number 46.
Speedy runners are always taught to just go ahead and keep on running when you get picked off like that and put the pressure on the first baseman. Most first basemen don't like to throw the baseball. And if you're a right-handed throwing first baseman like Ben Paulson, it's even more difficult to get a good throwing lane. He threw it wide of the fielder at second base because he was afraid of hitting Billy in the back with the baseball.
2 balls, 1 strike to Votto, and they'll bring the infield in. 2-2. To Joey. All 4 infielders edge of the grass. That's a hard hit ball. Tulowitzki will freeze the runner, and Billy's coming to the plate. Here comes the throw. He is out, says Davidson.
Boy.
I think this is going to be challenged also. Billy's looking into the Reds dugout. Brian Price looks back at him, and they'll wait and see. I mean, could the Reds challenge twice and win twice? We'll find out. We'll hold it here, as the last challenge took only 1 minute and 2 seconds. It looks like he's in there again, Chris.
It certainly does. I mean, he doesn't get tagged until he's down around waist high, and his hands are already over home plate.
Man, the man with the happy feet looks like he gets the hand in there again. Take another look from the other angle.
You know, it looks like he's accelerating through the slide, which is something you hardly ever see.
The call by Bob Davidson was out at home, and for the second time tonight, the replay officials back in New York will make a decision.
Well, we're keeping them busy in New York tonight, that's for certain.
Here's a good look.
They got it right, and they changed it to safe.
Safe, and the run scores. 2 for 2. Credit Rob Coughlin with good work for the Reds, and credit Billy Hamilton, the man with the happy feet, for getting the Reds rolling. You know, we talk about it so often, how much he means to the Reds. The Reds are 24-10 when Hamilton scores a run, and they're 18-42 when he doesn't. Well, so far, he's helped the Reds to a 5-0 lead.
How do you score that? You don't give Joey Votto an RBI, do you, on a ground ball to shortstop? He wasn't running on the play. He didn't run until after the out was made at first base.
You really should give him a stolen base of home.
I think so too, but the official score has ruled it an RBI for Votto. Why not? And the Reds put another one on the board, 5-0.
Well, Joey will take his second RBI, 48 on the year now, and here's Frazier. By the way, on a day when we've been talking about trades and the possible trade of Johnny Cueto, Todd Frazier comes to the plate, and we've been trying to work a trade out in the right field stands with Jim Day, and he's still working on it. Hopefully we'll come up with a deal for home run number 100 for Todd Frazier. That's call strike 3. When we come back, JD's out in right field. Does he have a deal for Frazier's 100th home run? We'll find out.
I'm Jim Day back out here in right field. Young Jack did have the 100th career home run ball. Now, guys, I'd like to say that I brokered the deal. I did play a part in it, but the Reds were one step ahead of me. Can I show this real quick, Jack? Check this out. The Reds already had this ready. It is a ball in a case, and it says Todd Frazier, Cincinnati Reds exchange ball, 100th home run. And they put the date on it, July 25th, 2015. It is encased, and it is signed by Todd Frazier. And they came to Jack and his father here, and they exchanged the ball. Let's give it up for him. No doubt about that. Now, this gentleman right here, again, Mike caught this ball and then turned around and gave it to a kid. And Mike said, this is what it's all about. When you catch a ball, you've got to give it to a youngster. And at that time, he didn't know that it was a 100th career home run ball and doesn't regret it. But how you feeling now? This is pretty cool, huh?
Really?
Now, Dad, you got a picture of the ball, him holding the actual ball, and that thing's already online, right?
I'm pretty sure it's posted up there somewhere already. So, yeah, he was pretty excited about it.
Well, you never know what you're going to get when you come to the ballpark. So a special story out here. The deal has been brokered. Todd Frazier will get that ball, and it's going on the mantle.
Good job, J.D. Good job by the Reds. And by the way, J.D., why don't you sit out there because Jay Bruce will be up next inning leading off. He's one home run behind Barry Larkin on the all-time Reds list. For number 9, he's got 197, Larkin 198. Maybe you'll get 2 of those tonight.
You know, I will stay out here, and Jack wanted to say one more thing if he can. Jack, go ahead.
I want to congratulate Mr. Frazier for hitting his 100th home run.
Is that beautiful?
That is awesome.
Good job, buddy. Outstanding. Isn't it great coming to the park, Chris? We have the best job in the world, or what?
Well, you know, that's a great moment, and kudos to Jim Day for getting up there and for the Reds to make it easy to get that home run ball back for Todd Frazier and get that young man Jack on camera and have his broadcasting debut right on the. He'll have a mentor there with Jim Day.
Down to third, Frazier has it. 2 away, and meanwhile, J.D. stole somebody's seat. He likes it up there in that first row, doesn't he? He's in the front row. 2 away, and here's Carlos Gonzalez. That's where you belong, JD, in the front row.
You know, these are good seats. We're right above me. Jay Bruce is right below us here. I think Mike says that he only misses he's missed like 4 games in 4 years or something. He's a season ticket holder around here. These are good seats.
Tell Jay you're there for his home run ball.
I probably don't want to distract him right now.
Nothing Reds with 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th. Gonzalez, 1 ball, no strikes. While all this is going on, Chris, the Reds have put some runs on the board. Johnny Cueto's so far in complete control.
Well, he is. He's given up 1 hit. And and that was really an opposite field hit by Nolan Arenado in the 2nd inning. Hasn't been threatened. He's just in kind of one of those grooves right now that the Reds have given him a little bit of a lead. The Rockies probably look out and say, are you kidding me? 5 runs against Johnny Cueto. How are we going to get that many? And sometimes teams have a tendency to back off a little bit from really grinding out ABs.
Center field, here comes Hamilton. He won't get there. That's a Coors Field base hit right there. Playing the big swinger deep. That drops in front of Hamilton, and there's hit number 2. Johnny knows how to pitch and knows where to get his outs. Cueto is in the driver's seat. Arcia in the driver's seat. Numbers, how does he fare against hitters with runners in scoring position? He and Greinke are pretty good, Chris.
Well, you know, when you got 2 of the top pitchers in the game who are able to turn it up a notch or 2 with runners in scoring position, this is what you have. And with runners on base overall, it really doesn't make any difference. Scoring position. Johnny Cueto has a tendency to be able to add a little bit to his fastball, buckle down a little bit more than other pitchers do. And never really gives you the feeling that he's nervous in a certain situation. You can have bases loaded, nobody out, and he's got the same demeanor.
Strike 1 to Arenado, who's single first time. This one laced into center, but there's Billy. He hauls it in, a base hit, a runner stranded. The Rockies have stranded too. Cueto's got a 5-0 lead. Here comes Jay Bruce. On Fox Sports Ohio, being brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meijer, find more for a healthier you at Meijer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on United States News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. Beautiful scenic area all around this Denver region. Beautiful day today. Temperature at game time 90 degrees. A picture perfect day, and so far been picture perfect pitching for Johnny Cueto. He's got a 5-0 lead. We go to the top of 5, and here's Jay Bruce. Slide out and single. Bruce sends this to the left side, high in the air, but it'll be out of play. Speed of Billy Hamilton, the home run power of Todd Frazier's fueled the Reds to a 5-0 lead. They overshift on Bruce. 3 to the right side of second base. That's up and in. Big swing and a miss. 1-2 to Jay. Bruce's average up to the 250 range. He's risen at about 40 points, hitting at a 300 clip for the last 2 months. Line to left. That's a sinking liner, and he's got a 2-hit ball game. Leadoff hitter on again for the Reds. For the 3rd consecutive inning, the Reds get the leadoff batter on. Here's Pena, singled and struck out 1 for 2.
Well, through 4 innings, and we have 1 man on in the 5th inning. Chris Russin has thrown 88 pitches. When he pitched 7 innings against the Reds back on May the 26th, he went 7 innings overall and pitched 90 pitches total in that game. So the Reds are working him a lot harder now than they did back in May.
Bunt down. Russin looks to second. The throw there in time, and they'll turn 2. Good job by Russin to bounce off the mound and make the play.
Well, not only that, George, but make the decision really before you get to the baseball. You have a little timer in your head that says, all right, where's that runner from first going to be when I pick the ball up? You don't look first and then make a decision. And that's the only way they're able to get a double play. I'm a little surprised the Reds are not trying to put the throttle down in a different way than sacrifice there with a runner at first base. They've got 10 hits off this guy.
Here's Bird, who struck out in single 1 for 2. In between innings on the scoreboard, they had their scoreboard quiz here at Coors Field, and the quiz was, what is a southpaw? And Chris, this is probably about the best ballpark and what we've been talking about tonight to describe what a southpaw is.
Well, southpaw is a guy when he stands on the pitching mound, if he extends his arm straight out, one towards first and the right arm towards third, his left arm would be pointing to the south. If the ballpark is configured properly and make that as where right field is the sun field.
Another tip from the top. Oh, Welchieism. Reds get a base hit, still go 1-2-3. They lead at 5-0. And Mo Egger from 700 WLW at the Holy Grail. It's your chance to answer Reds trivia, win prizes, be part of Reds Live. Fun gets started Friday at 6 at the Holy Grail. Well, Holy Grail, of course, in and around Great American Ballpark, a great place to enjoy baseball and enjoy downtown Cincinnati. Same story here, Chris. I mean, after the game last night, it was great to walk around in this downtown area. You and I had a chance to see full well how the fans not only enjoy their baseball, but enjoy this area that at one time was just a desolate area before this ballpark was built.
It was a warehouse district. There weren't a lot of people living down here. There were just a lot of empty buildings, and they were able to take control of the area and put the stadium in. Beautiful stadium. It sits below street level. So when you walk up to it, you walk down, a couple of stories to get down there to the box seat, so it doesn't overwhelm you on the street side. A lot of people come in and out of these turnstiles every year. Not as many now as there used to be, but it's a great place to watch a game, and there are a lot of Rockies fans, and they come from really a large geographic area. This is an area, really, if you want to call Rockies country, it rivals Reds country in terms of, square miles of area covered, maybe even much bigger than the Reds country. And it's a nice city, and there are transplants coming here from everywhere, including Cincinnati. I met a lot of people from Cincinnati today that have come here to visit and decided to stay.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Reds fans hanging outside the players' entrance, hanging outside the front entrance, looking to get a peek at their favorite Reds players. 2-2. This one looped into left. That's going to drop for a base hit. So Dickerson 1 for 2 after popping up first time out. Leadoff hitter on here in the 5th for the Rockies. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. So leadoff hitter on in the 5th, and that'll bring up Ben Paulson. Dickerson just back off the disabled list after a foot problem that's bothered him a good portion of this year, put him on the DL. No stolen bases on the year thus far as the Rockies are down 5-0. Paulson lined to short first time up. Reds double play depth in the middle of the infield. Game 2 of the series tonight. Tomorrow it's Michael Lorenzen going for his 4th win against Kyle Kendrick. We'll be on the air with Reds Live at 3:30. The game will follow at 4 Cincinnati time tomorrow. And the Reds head to St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. Raisel Iglesias goes Monday, Mike Leake Tuesday, and Anthony DeSclafani on Wednesday. Monday it'll be Iglesias against Lance Lynn. Tuesday Leake against Lackey, and then Wednesday DeSclafani faces the lefty Tim Cooney. And the Cardinals, they've made a couple of moves this week to kind of strengthen their stretch run too.
Well, they keep winning. They won today 1-0. Carlos Martinez beat the Atlanta Braves in that ball game. They have now won 5 in a row and have 63 wins on the year. By far the most wins of any division leader in baseball. In fact, the closest is the Kansas City Royals. They're next with 57 wins. But it's just an amazing what the Cardinals have been able to put together this year, and with all the injuries that they have sustained along the way.
So the 2 winningest teams reside in the state of Missouri. Remember the I-70 series in 1985? People went by train between the 2 cities. People thought, why would anybody watch this World Series? It's only a Missouri World Series. It turned out to be the highest rated World Series ever because it was great drama. One ball, 2 strikes. Short lead for Dickerson down at first. Hanging in there is Paulson. Stays at 1-2. In addition to that Cardinal win, they scored a run late to beat the Braves 1-0. We told you about Philadelphia beating the Cubs 5-0. Cole Hamels a no-hitter in that game. Washington leads the Pirates 7-3. They're now in the 8th. And the Mets leading the Dodgers 14-2 in the 8th. Votto will get one at second to return to first. Yes, in time as Cueto covers the bag well.
One of the toughest ways to get a double play ball is the ball hit to the first baseman and then have the pitcher cover first base. But Votto, perfect feed to Suarez. Suarez gets rid of it quickly. Cueto on the bag waiting for the throw rather than running on the way over there. And just like that, whatever that mini threat that they were beginning to mount here in the 5th is gone.
And you saw a perfect job by Votto inside the bag. He made his throw inside the second base bag as well to make it easier to turn.
Looks like Johnny's going to take a couple extra seconds out there to get his breath back. Now, you know, it's only about 90 feet from the pitcher's mound to first base, if that, but you still, you know, you don't get acclimated to mile-high elevation and thin air until about after you've been here for about 3 days.
High fly ball to right. Bruce looks up, puts it in his pocket, and even with the base hit, it's a 1-2-3 inning. Johnny's got a 5-0 lead. Suarez will lead it off. $12 plus the first 25,000 fans in attendance receive a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Great night for baseball, a very pleasant day all told. And for the Reds, the smiling side of the scoreboard to boot. Russin's day is done. 5 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs. And new pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. This is a Rockies bullpen that has 5 right-handers and very odd, Chris, 4 left-handers, but it's a much-used bullpen as well.
Well, it is, and you always figure that's going to happen in Colorado anyway. Gonzalez Hermain is coming into the ball game. He started the season with the Cubs, pitched 6 games there. Now he's with the Rockies, signed by the New York Mets out of La Romana, Dominican Republic. So that's Jumbo Diaz's town.
Just recalled a couple of weeks ago. Big number 62 takes over for Russin, who somehow got through 5, allowing the 10 hits and 5 runs.
He did not walk a batter, and he struck out 5.
Mm-hmm. The Reds are familiar with being in an offensive ballpark. So are the Rockies. This is one of the most offensive-minded parks in all of Major League Baseball. Not easy to negotiate when you really don't have a strikeout pitch. Here's Suarez 1 for 2, reached on an error and single to left. 3 balls, 1 strike. And we'll go full 3 and 2. And one thing you've always said when we come here, Chris, you can't walk people. Well, this team is averaging nearly 4 walks a game. It's always been a problem here in Denver. That's hit hard, backhanded by Tulowitzki. The long throw. They've got the Red shortstop 1 away.
Well, what happens with pitchers, George, is that nobody wants to get hit. So you feel like when you start giving up hits or you're giving up home runs, you feel like your stuff's not good enough. So you try harder. You try to snap off your slider a little bit harder. You reach back for a little bit more on your fastball. And then you nibble around the corners a little bit more, and that's where the walks come in. But the mindset of the pitcher here is that I'm not going to throw a complete game, and I'm not going to throw a shutout. I've got to go out there and just battle every hitter and see what happens at the end of the ball game. And hopefully your team is going to score more runs, because you know eventually it's going to be an offensive game. Most of the time that's the way it plays out.
1 ball, 1 strike to Cueto. In the Reds lineup, he's the only Red without a base hit thus far. A ground ball to third and a strikeout. That misses low.
We were talking, though, over the last couple of nights, last night especially, George, about the humidor and what difference it has made. They take all the baseballs now and they put it in a humidor to make sure that they don't dry out, get a little bit lighter, the skin gets tighter, and they don't go as far as they used to. I mean, when this place opened in 1995, I mean, there were a ton of home runs hit, 241 home runs overall. That averaged 3.3 home runs per game. In 1999, you know, when the Blake Street Bombers were in their best, they were hitting over 300 home runs a year here. You know, then you bring the humidor into existence in 2002, and it dropped from 268 down to 232. Now you start testing for drugs, and it goes from 221 to 170. So as I mentioned last night, the combination of light air, elevation, and chemicals, this was really a home run paradise.
Johnny looked like he tweaked his right hand as he swung the bat. Take another look. Flaps his right hand and very slow to get out of the box, and still shaking it as he heads back to the dugout.
I'll tell you what, there is a collective holding of the breath right now of people around Reds offices. And they will not exhale until they see him come out on the mound again. Although he doesn't seem to be attended by any trainers, and hopefully he's all right.
Hamilton hits this one hard off the glove of LeMahieu. LeMahieu has already been charged with an error. This will go as a base hit, undoubtedly.
Well, it goes as a base hit because he didn't want to get in front of the ball. If you get in front of this ball and you muff it, it is an error. If you go down on one knee and try to backhand olay it and gets by you, it's a base hit. So what incentive does a player have in getting in front of a ball anymore?
Well, the incentive for the Reds is pretty clear. For the third time tonight, Billy's on base. He singled, started the rally in the third, scored. In the fourth, he singled to center, stole a base, and scored. And here, with 2 outs in the sixth, he's on base again. Strike 1 to Phillips. Phillips is 1 for 3. Votto is 1 for 3 and 2 runs batted in. Frazier, with his 100th career homer, is 1 for 3. And the home run was a 3-run shot that gave the Reds a 4-0 lead. Bruce has 2 hits, 2 for 3. Pena 1 for 3. Bird 1 for 3. Suarez 1 for 3, and Hamilton 3 for 3. So the Reds have piled up, all told, 11 hits on the night. That's the first baseman Paulson telling Germain to keep the ball down if he throws over there, as that sun has peaked out again. One ball, one strike. Russin kind of flipped it over there. Germain's he didn't make it easy for the first baseman. Way out in front is Phillips, 1-2. This one looped to left, but over there is Dickerson. He'll glove it, and that'll do it. The Reds get a base hit, their 11th of the night. Nothing to show for it, holding on to a 5-0 lead. Boys and girls clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. Five runs, 11 hits, no errors for the Reds behind Johnny Cueto. No runs, 3 hits. As the bullpenners start to loosen in the Reds bullpen.
I think I may have seen those guys at Red Rock this morning.
They were at the yoga camp.
Sunrise Yoga Camp.
Blooped, long run for Bruce. Will he get there? That's the third hit. They got a shot at second, and he's going to be out. Drew Stubbs pinch hitting, tried to stretch 1 into 2 when he trails by 5. And the end result is he's erased at second base. So a base hit for Stubbs and a outfield assist for Jay Bruce. Great job by Jay and the long run and the perfect throw.
Well, he ought to know better than to test Jay Bruce. 5 runs down.
Perfect throw. Great tag by Suarez, and Stubbs is erased.
Boy.
Even though the Rockies won last night, I mean, we talk a lot about the Butler base running, but the Rockies have not run the bases well all year long. Last night was another example of it, and there's an example where It cost them a base runner in a game they trail 5-0.
Well, when you have a veteran player whose base running is his game, run the bases like that in a 5-0 ball game, why would you be surprised that the rest of the team can't run the bases?
Here's Blackman, bounced out, struck out 0 for 2. And oh, by the way, after Cueto came back to the dugout, took off his batting glove. There's a rocket shot to right. Bruce there, got it. Maybe the hardest hit ball for the Rockies all night, but Bruce tracks it down. There's 2 away. Cueto waved off the Reds medical staff saying, I'm okay, and he looks like he's fine on the mound right now.
George, time to send out birthday wishes to a longtime Reds fan. I presume he's down in Lexington, Kentucky. If not, he's near Lexington. Bobby Flynn, Doug Flynn's dad, who watches and listens to every game. And I mean, he might be the biggest Reds fan and most knowledgeable one out there. He taught his son a lot about the game, and we wish Bobby happy birthday number 88. Wow.
Congratulations, Bobby. Happy birthday. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Great to have Doug part of Reds baseball again.
Sure
Man,
is.
it's great to watch him on Reds Weekly. Great to see him around the ballpark.
Teach your son a little bit about fishing, will you, Bobby?
There's some people that you see, Chris, you got a smile on your face every time you see him. And when you see Doug and Olga, you always got a smile on your face.
You're not kidding. Olga hasn't changed in 20 years, I'm telling you. The rocking chair. That's one of the first times we've seen it all night here at Cueto. The hesitation, the rock, and here it comes. I wonder Bobby Flynn sitting on the porch, looking at that TV through the window, doing the old rocking chair himself.
High fly ball down the right field line in foul territory. Bruce got it. Well, an active inning for Jay Bruce. He starts it with a great assist and 2 fine catches. Cueto has a 5-0 lead. We head to the 7th. It was scoreless till the 3rd. Joey Votto continues his hot hitting with a base hit to center. That scores Billy Hamilton. Reds lead 1-0. Right after him, Todd Frazier clubs his 27th homer of the year, 100th of his career. A 3-run shot, 4-0 Reds. And then in the 4th, Billy Hamilton reached on a base hit, stole a base, went to 3rd on an error, then scored on Joey's ground out. 5-0 Cincinnati. Play at the plate was challenged. He got under the tag and correctly was called safe. The Reds led it 5-0. Meanwhile, Johnny be good on this night, Chris.
Well, you're not kidding about that, George. What a difference it has been since Johnny Cueto pitched the last couple of ball games. He struggled his last couple of times out, but not tonight. Working on a shutout and taking the team through 6 innings of 4-hit baseball.
5-11-0 for Cincinnati. No runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Rockies. We go to the top of 7. Votto, Frazier, and Bruce due up. Joey last night 3 for 5 and a homer. A game-tying homer late. And here he's 1 for 3 and 2 runs batted in. Now with 48 runs batted in on the season. Line drive, left center field. That'll drop for a base hit. Votto takes a big turn but will hold. So another multi-hit game for Joey as he greets Friedrich, the new pitcher, with a base hit to left. And the Reds have the leadoff hitter on for the 4th time tonight. Well, A.J. Pollock had a brilliant first half. Paul Goldschmidt as well. But Joey Votto now with 36 multi-hit games leads everybody in the National League. Here's Frazier. Down to third. Arenado will turn it into a force at second. They'll turn that into their second double play. Five, 4, 3 is the twin killing, and there's 2 away. The base runner erased.
Well, with Christian Friedrich on the mound, we failed to mention when Chris Russian was out there that he is a product of the University of Kentucky. He was a Wildcat. He was 23 wins and 11 losses when he was with Kentucky. And Christian Friedrich is a former member of the Eastern Kentucky University baseball program. That's where the Rockies drafted him in the 1st round.
Well, Friedrich, in spite of giving up a base hit, has a 1-2-3-7. To the bottom of 7 we go. Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, and Arenado due up to face Cueto. One with highlights, instant analysis, live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weeknights at 7 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Shoot it turn in late on tonight as you get the highlights of Cole Hamels' no-hitter. Beat the Chicago Cubs in a Wrigley Field gem for Cole Hamels. Now the rumors continue that Hamels, and the rumors have been true for 2 years, that he might be traded, and the rumors surrounding Johnny Cueto were really, if you joined us late, front and center here when the afternoon started. There were rumblings that Cueto might be dealt as early as today. In fact, before the game, Michael Lorenzen went out in the outfield and started the long toss. before Cueto finally came out of the clubhouse and long toss and started the game. But Chris, even though it may be weighing heavily on him, he's pitched brilliantly tonight.
I think it's a little easier emotionally for Johnny to pitch on the road in this type of circumstance than at home at Great American Ballpark. Last time it was against the Cleveland Indians right after the All-Star break. Before that, it was the Miami Marlins, and the Reds just simply did not look good the last couple of games in Miami. There was a general malaise surrounding that team, it seemed like, and actually it caused Brian Price to have a closed-door meeting in the game that after Johnny Cueto pitched on the Sunday before the All-Star break. But he is back on Cueto Hill tonight.
Tulowitzki 0 for 2 and 0 for 6 in the series so far. Leads it off here in the 7th. 2 ground balls to the left side. 1 to Suarez and 1 to Frazier for Tulowitzki. And the rumors have been surrounding this guy too. When he signed till 2020, this one hit pretty good. Back at the warning track, looking up his bird at the wall. He hauls it in. Tulowitzki bidding for his 13th homer, 0 for 3. And while he is under contract to 2020, the rumors persist that he might be dealt as well. It's funny, I think in this generation, every time you see that number 2, you'll think of Derek Jeter, won't you?
Yeah, for a long time anyway.
Tulowitzki honors Jeter with that number 2.
When will he be in the Hall of Fame, Derek Jeter? He's got to wait 5 years, right? This year is his first year of wait?
Yep. And for us, I mean, we started tonight on Reds Lab before the game with Jeff Pecora and Brian Giesenslaw talking about this Hall of Fame weekend. Next weekend it becomes a Reds tinted Hall of Fame as well, because Ken Griffey Jr. will be heading in undoubtedly on his first ballot. What do you remember most about the battles with Biggio, Smoltz, Johnson, and Pedro?
Interesting, George. I looked it up. I can't remember what they did against each other, but I can tell you that Biggio never got a hit off of Randy Johnson, but he hit 300 off of Pedro Martinez, and I think he was pretty good against Smoltz overall. One thing I remember about Smoltz, back in the days when Jack McKeon was coaching or was managing the Reds, he kind of poo-pooed players playing golf. He never really liked that. Well, Smoltz, when he would come into Cincinnati, he was famous for playing golf. And he went out to Traditions Golf Club one day, day before he pitched against the Reds, and he played golf. And then that next night, I asked him, how'd you play? And he said, well, I shot 72. I said, oh, that's pretty good. And 71. He not only played 18 holes, he played 36 holes the day before. He goes out and throws a 2-hit shutout against the Reds. So I went to Jack McKeon and said, Jack, maybe we're missing something here.
He was a joy to be around, wasn't he? I mean, and all of those guys were, I mean, we talk about Biggio and Bagwell and Ausmus being the leaders in that Houston clubhouse. Always, oh, look out. That got Arenado. Was it on the hand or the forearm? Fastball up and in, and it looked like. Take another look, see where it did clip him. Right on the hand as he dropped the hand.
Yeah, tried to get your hands out of the way right there, and it looked like that ball was just boring right in on him.
And it really wasn't that far in. It just as he dropped his hands, couldn't get his hands out of the way. Johnny has made his way off the mound, was looking very closely with hands on hips as they check out the Rockies' third baseman. He appears to be okay, staying in the game. Keith Duggar, the trainer, out to check him out. I always remember Biggio and his leadership qualities. He and Bagwell and Ausmus, the way they patrolled that clubhouse. I'll never forget Reggie Sanders charging the mound in Montreal when Pedro hit him and Pedro had a no-hitter going.
Yeah,
remember that?
I sure do.
And Randy Johnson, 20 strikeouts, with Juan Castro being the last strikeout victim in Arizona.
Or when Randy Johnson drilled that poor bird in spring training.
Oh, jeez. You know, we talk often now about the mental side of the game, and I remember when John Smoltz was having controlled problems as a starter in Atlanta after coming over in the trade from Detroit. And I remember Jack Llewellyn, who was one of the first guys who really started the mental approach back in the 80s to so many of the young players that came up. And Jack Llewellyn really herded him through a difficult time in his career. And I would imagine in his speech he'll probably say something about Jack. But I remember asking Jack what he told John Smoltz. He said, I didn't really tell him anything. I asked him questions because he was having trouble with control. He was walking batters, getting behind batters. And he said, I asked him, what do you stand on the mound? What do you see? He says, oh, I see the stands. I see the fans. I see the field. He said, no, focus. Bring it in closer. He said, well, okay, what? No, get tighter. He says, okay, I see the field. I see the batter and the umpire. No, tighter. I see the catcher. No, tighter. I see the glove. And that's where he started. He had him concentrate on the glove. Take away all the other, and not just that moment of throwing a pitch, but the moment of focusing on what your job is. And he had him zero in on the glove, zero in on hitting that spot.
Well, the great ones eliminate the noise and slow the game down.
Well, number 47 sure learned how to do that.
He certainly has, and well, we've watched him do that, really, George, grow into that from the time that he was, what, a 16 or 17-year-old kid signed by the Reds and in the lower levels of the minor leagues.
Dickerson retired on a strikeout. You wanted it, Chris. Here it is. Johnson against the Seagull. Happy Hall of Fame, RJ. Smiling side of the scoreboard, certainly already smiling for Todd Frazier with that 27th homer, number 100 of his career, and the Reds more importantly with a 5-0 lead as we go to the top of the 8th. Pena, Bird, and Suarez due up. Meanwhile, Johnny's been in control. Time for our DirecTV standings. Let's take a look at the up-to-date National League wild card standings as they stand right now. Sponsored by DirecTV. The Pirates +3.5. San Francisco in the second wild card slot. The Cubs a game and a half back after their loss today. Mets 4, and the Atlanta Braves 7.5 back. Here's Johan Flande, the third pitcher of the day. Russin started, and one of 4 left-handers out of this bullpen taken over. Flande, 9 years in the minor leagues, Chris, and finally has gotten his chance here at the major league level.
You know, if you're a reliever that has bounced around some different organizations and you're looking for maybe an opportunity to make the major leagues, there are worse places to be than with the Colorado Rockies. I mean, because they run through a lot of pitchers. I mean, it's just a product of being here in Colorado.
Similar story to Jumbo Diaz. And even talking to Drew Stubbs when we came to town yesterday, swing and a miss, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I asked Drew, I said, you know, and Drew Stubbs, of course, went down to the minor leagues. He did not have to. He agreed to so that he could try to get his swing straightened out. I said, what was the most difficult thing to deal with? And he said, the travel. You know, we're spoiled up here. Taking planes and, you know, everything is done for us down there. You're sometimes leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning from your hotel, taking 2 flights and playing that night. He said, you learn to appreciate what you have here, and you kind of tell the guys that story when you get back. That fastball is wide to Pena. Full count, 3-2.
You know, when you're in the minor leagues, though, and you're stuck down in the minor leagues, and Blonde signed when he was 20 years old, and he was with the Dominican Summer League with the Philadelphia Phillies. Then he went with Atlanta for a few years, and then finally over here to Colorado. But you know, you're just looking for a break. You know, you may have a favorite team or a favorite manager or a favorite player, but you're just looking somewhere where you can get out of AA or AAA and a shot in the major leagues. And it really doesn't matter because he knows oh so well. I mean, 29 years old now, so he's been around a long time in the minors. That's a lot of, you know, miles in a bus. It's a lot of days where you're getting 15 or 20 bucks a day in meal money compared to what they get up here. There's no minor league retirement time that you put in, where every day you're on the big league roster, cha-ching, cha-ching. I've got a lot of respect for these guys that have put a lot of time in, and Jumbo Diaz is among those guys at the very top of the list. You can see the hunger in their eyes.
1 ball, 1 strike to Marlon Byrd. Byrd 1 for 3, a base hit to left. Pena, after striking out, 1 for 4 on the night. Did he go around? No. 2-1. There's Jumbo. Happy to be back with the big club. Boy, and give, you know, how many times do we talk about it, Chris? Give Teddy Power so much credit down at AAA for what he's done over the years to help guys who have had their struggles here at the major league level. You send them down, and whether it was Rick Sweet or Jim Riggleman or now Delano DeShields as the manager down there, Teddy has been there to help those guys find a way to get back up here.
You know, and those minor league coaches are also waiting for a call to the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
May not be with the organization they're with right now, but I mean, a lot of those guys are lifers down there. They don't necessarily want to spend it all down in the minor leagues.
Down to third, throwing the dirt, but it's picked by Paulson. 2 away, and here comes Suarez. Great American Ballpark is the place to be for students on Wednesdays with the new Student Discount Days presented by First Student. All students can purchase discounted tickets for all Wednesday Red home games just by showing their school ID at the box office. For more information, visit reds.com/students. The worst part of this time of year, you start going into the stores and they got all the back to school stuff out there, huh? Hey, how did Grace do at her acting camp?
She loved it. Loved every minute of it. Didn't want to come home. Isn't that the way it
good
usually
sign.
That's usually the way it goes with camps.
The worst thing is when they go the first night and they call crying, I want to come home. or even worse, to college. So we can look for her to be Annie someday?
Well, she's got some talent and she loves it, but I don't think it's going to dominate her life.
And how's Max Summer?
He's having a great summer. Taking a full course load in college.
Playing ball?
It's one of those all-around years where you're in school. I don't know how many semesters of calculus in a row you can take before you have crossed eyes, but he's trying.
Well, my thankfulness is the fact that I had coaches that were my physics teacher and my calculus teacher, else I never would have passed them.
So that's the secret.
Full count 3-2 to Suarez. Reached down an error single to left and grounded to short. And they overshift to the left side against him. Swing and a miss, held on by Hundley. And it's a 1-2-3 inning. One of the rarities on this night. 5-0 Reds. Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Maria, nice job. That's a good Reds fan right there, huh? Here we go to the bottom of 8. Paulson to lead it off in the 7th spot. Hundley and then the pitcher spot. A little bit of this, a little bit of that for Johnny Cueto.
Well, you know, when you're in control, you feel like you can throw just about anything you have in your arsenal for a strike and get an out of it. And that's the kind of night that Johnny Cueto has. And to have that here at Coors Field is very unusual, even for a caliber pitcher like Johnny Cueto. I mean, Cueto in the 8th inning now, you wonder if he might be sniffing around for a complete game. He's only at 86 pitches, so it certainly is within the realm. But do you do that with Cueto? Maybe as somebody that you're thinking about trading, an asset that you want to keep healthy?
1 ball, 2 strikes. Paulson tonight, lined to short, bounced into a 3-6-3 double play 0 for 2.
Now, Johnny has a complete game already this year. He had 4 last year. Those 4 complete games last year that he had are more than the Rockies team has had in the last 4 years. That's how difficult it is to have a complete game here at Coors Field.
The hits for the Rockies tonight: a single to right by Arenado in the 2nd, a base hit to center by Gonzalez in the 4th, a single by Dickerson to left in the 5th. And a base hit by Drew Stubbs in the 8th.
A little blip, I think, in the mental approach of Johnny Cueto right there. You know, he kind of goofing around with him early in the at-bat, and all of a sudden the at-bat gets away from him. When he's needed it, he's gotten 2 double play balls.
Here's Hundley, fly ball to center, fly ball to right, 0 for 2. Hundley peers down to Stu Cole, the third base coach, and he looks back at him saying, I got nothing for you. Just swing the bat. We're down by 5. Get something going. Rosario's moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next. Yes, missing, and we'll even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. If you joined us late, already completed in the National League. Cole Hamels a no-hitter. Philadelphia beat the Cubs 5-0 this afternoon. Pirates 3-0 over Washington. The Mets defeated the Dodgers 15-2. The Cardinals got a run late to beat the Atlanta Braves 1-0. J.J. Hoover loosening in the bullpen for Cincinnati. He gets outs when he needs it.
What a pitch right there. I mean, it looked like a fastball, smelled like a fastball, but it ended up being a changeup, and Hundley is way out in front of it. And I'm wondering, look at the reaction there by Brian Pena. Say, hey, he just went to the mound, had a little conversation with Johnny, and I'm wondering if maybe he convinced Johnny to embrace the idea of using that pitch in that situation to get an out.
Jeff Pico out to talk to his right-hander, with Willeen Rosario coming up to pinch hit.
I'm sure that this is probably a conversation about, you know, scouting report on Rosario, which is fine, but Rosario's been around the league a while, and Cueto's been around the league, and they probably faced each other before. And you don't want to get to the point where you've got information overload. When Cueto's out there pitching, I think you can go back to the basics. Hard up and in, soft low and away, hard upstairs, soft downstairs.
One pitch and a high fly ball to right. Here comes Bruce. Under it, got it. 2 away, Rosario retired.
Yeah, back took less time than the meeting.
Cueto was looking out towards the outfield, and Suarez tossed the ball right by him, and Pena backed him up. He said, my fault, my bad. So here's Blackman in the leadoff spot. Charlie tonight 0 for 3, line to right last time up. A leadoff walk, and Paulson still sitting at first. Those other games that are still underway in the National League, Arizona leads Milwaukee 2-0. They're in the 7th. And San Diego leads Miami 2-0 going into the 8th inning. Approaching the 100 pitch count is Johnny Cueto. Around the batting cage before the game today, Blackman, Dickerson, Arenado all saying the same thing. You know, it's kind of exciting to face a Johnny Cueto. Not exciting because you know you're in for a tough night, but it's a chess match all night long. You have to have a game plan and an approach to deal with him. And Cueto's won it battle after battle, inning after inning so far tonight. Johnny at 99 pitches has a 5-0 lead after 8.
$12 plus the first 25,000 in attendance. We'll get a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead. It's presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. Tickets 513-381-REDS. Select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Big news in the baseball world today. That would be Cole Hamels throwing a no-hitter in Wrigley Field against the Cubs. Odubel Herrera, who ran down a ball in the 8th, had a little bit of trouble on this final out. He got a little dicey, but on the track, he made the catch. The 27th out of the game. Cole Hamels pitching a no-hitter today. And prior to today, the Cubs had the longest streak without being no-hit. They hadn't been no-hit since Sandy Koufax threw a perfect game against them in 1965. With today's no-hitter, now the Reds have that distinction. Counting tonight's game, 7,027 consecutive regular season games. We know Roy Halladay did it to him in the playoffs, but 7,027 regular season games without being no-hit, the longest active streak in Major League Baseball.
Thanks, JD. That was a Dwayne Wise moment, wasn't it, Chris?
Well, that one, but you're talking about the last time a pitcher no-hit the Reds was regular season. That was Rick Wise, the Owlman, back in 1971, who also that night hit 2 home runs. So
Johnny Cueto's night is done as Skip Schumacher will hit for him in the 9th inning, and Johnny got a series of hugs and congratulations. Schumacher a double last night, his 13th pinch hit leading the National League, and he's been at an even 300 as a pinch hitter in this last 2 months. Rafael Betancourt, sometime starter, sometime reliever, back on this roster, back in the bullpen for the Rockies, becomes their 4th pitcher of the night. Schumacher strikes out after pinch hitting for Cueto, and when Johnny left with 99 pitches, Chris, this was the greeting he got in the dugout. No doubt that one hug after another, and you can see guys getting in line wondering if this might be the last time they get a chance to congratulate number 47.
They're going to miss him, I'll tell you what, because every fifth day they had a real good chance of winning a ball game because he would take his A game out there more times than not. It's a little different when you turn the baseball over to rookies. And now there's some barking going on. I'm not sure what the deal is.
Bob Davidson is going back and forth with the Reds dugout after Schumacher.
I guess Schumacher didn't like that call. He's standing at the top of the railing.
Ryan Price jumping out to try to short circuit anything right here.
Brian was serious. He took his glasses off. You know, it might be 5-0, but if you don't feel like you got a fair call at home plate, you're chapped. Especially when you feel like you had the bat taken out of your hand, and you can appreciate where Schumacher's coming from. This guy's wired tight now. He's a winning player, and he wants to succeed every time he goes out there.
And the at-bats are infrequent, so you take away an at-bat, you take away a night. Not like he's got 4 or 5 at-bats.
You're exactly right.
And we talk about Biggio and his leadership capabilities. That guy's out of the same mold. What a night for Billy. Single to start the Reds rally in the third. The Reds had 7 hits and 4 runs in the third. Billy started it off with a base hit, a bunt base hit that was challenged. Ends up with 3 hits, 3 singles on the night. His third 3-hit game this season. For Billy, that inning included a base hit by Phillips, a single by Votto to make it 1-0. Then the 3-run home run by Frazier made it 4-0. In the fourth, Billy started it with a base hit, stole second, went to third on an error, and scored on a ground out by Votto to make it 5-0. So we've got the full dose of what Billy Hamilton means to the Reds offense tonight, Chris.
Well, and when you see that, you miss it when it's not there because you know he's got the potential. And it's just a matter of putting it together like he has tonight more often. You know, using that bunt a little bit. And this is coming back from a night last night where he did not have a good night. I mean, he bunted right through a suicide squeeze on a pitch that was right down Broadway. So he comes back, doesn't let it bother him, turns his page, and you just hope to see more of that. He's not happy either.
Back-to-back strikeouts, this one with Hamilton looking. So Billy, 3 for 4. He's never had a 4-hit game. It's his third 3-hit game of the season, 2 away.
That's a 9th inning strike zone right there.
Yep.
In a 5-0 game. Get an early start time here at Coors Field, 6 o'clock. Dinner reservations are waiting somewhere.
And you know, in the old days, Chris, the umpires could take charge of a game that way. Now, next day after they have home plate, they get the disc that grades them on every pitch of the night.
Yeah.
You could go from a 93 or a 94 down to an 84 rating with just a couple of at-bats. Swing and a pop-up by Phillips. Will anybody get there? A sliding catch by Blackman. Blackman, I think, thought Dickerson was going to get there, but he turned on the Jets and saves a base hit. 5-0 Reds. It's up to the bullpen to close it out. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. And don't forget, get ready for Reds action tomorrow and 30 minutes before every Reds game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio with all the info you need for every day's games. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Jeff Picoro, Brian Giesenslaw will be there tomorrow to give you the bird's eye view of this matchup. Michael Lorenzen against Kyle Kendrick. And if you joined us late, Lorenzen was out long tossing today before the game. And there was speculation that maybe the Reds had worked a deal for Cueto and that Lorenzen might be moved up a day. He loosened up a little bit. Then finally Johnny Cueto came out of the clubhouse and out of the dugout. And boy, did Cueto answer the call tonight, Chris. Your report card on Johnny Cueto tonight.
Well, the scoreboard is usually the report card. And tonight, A's across the board for Cueto. 8 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball, walked 1, struck out 5. I don't believe that he allowed a Colorado Rocky to reach second base.
Did not.
That is dominating.
Here's Jumbo. Diaz will come in the 9th inning with a 5-0 lead. LeMahieu in the number 2 spot, Tulowitzki, and then Gonzalez. Jumbo from the stretch to the big second baseman. That's strike 1. The hits for the Rockies tonight: a second inning single with 1 out by Arenado, a 2-out single to center by Gonzalez in the 4th, a leadoff base hit by Dickerson to left in the 6th. He was erased on a double play. Only 4. And Cueto only walked 1. That was Paulson to lead off the 8th. Line drive. Frazier. Phillips can't get it. It's into right for a base hit. And LeMahieu has his first hit of the night, and the leadoff hitter's on in the 9th. So LeMahieu is on. That base hit stretches his hitting streak from 14 to 15. And here comes Tulowitzki facing Jumbo. Diaz has not allowed a run since coming back from Louisville following the All-Star break, trying to keep that streak alive here. Tulowitzki looking for his first hit of the series. 0 for 7. There's the strike.
Now the Reds are taking no chances. Chapman has got up and now beginning to throw in the bullpen.
Foul back and out of play, and this is where Tulowitzki's been a lot of the last 2 nights. Behind in the count, it's 0-2. On the hands, foul back, count stays 0-2. Down at Louisville, Jumbo did the job for Delino de Shields. 13 games, a 1.13 earned run average, and he converted 8 of 9 save opportunities. And over his last 15 innings, did not allow a run. Elevates and strikes him out. So 2 drought nights for Tulowitzki.
Well, reaching back for a little extra. Jumbo firing up there. That flamethrower brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Almost triple digits. You think that we could round up, don't you?
It's kind of like your grades in school.
I wouldn't know what a 99 was.
I'm talking about 69 to 70. From a D to a C ain't bad. Here's Carlos Gonzalez. Big hit last night for the Rockies. He had 2 of them. 2 home runs, now 16 on the year. He's got one of the 4 hits, one of the 5 hits today, a base hit to center field. He lined out and grounded out his other 2 plate appearances. After lengthy stints on the DL last year, in fact, the Reds were here in August when he shut it down for the season and had knee surgery. He also was on the DL with a hand injury, a cyst removed from his finger last year, so it was a lost year, and they've been waiting for him to come alive. He has during the month of July. He's hit nearly 400, and they're hoping he gets the legs back under him, the running game going. This is a 4-time 2020 guy. Swing and a miss. He's got some giddy up tonight, huh?
Well, especially if you chase that pitch upstairs, it's just nearly impossible to get on top of. Gonzalez has gotten better because his legs have gotten healthier. And when he first came back, he tried to get his legs into his swing so much, he got down and crouched down too much. They looked at some tape. They straightened him up a little bit, and that's one reason why he's swinging the bat a little better, just more upright.
1-2. A rocket shot towards right center. Bruce will cut it off. That'll put runners at first and third. Oh, when he makes contacts, it's a sweet sound, isn't it?
Well, you don't need a lot of scouting to tell you that he is a hitter that likes the ball down rather than up. I mean, just look at the last 2 pitches. He swings it at one around his letters, swings and misses. Now you get one down a little bit above the knees, and he just drops the head.
So first and third with 1 out. The Reds will stay at double play depth in the infield. And here comes Daniel Descalzo, who will pinch hit for Nolan Arenado, which tells you, Chris, maybe that hand bothering him a little bit after being hit on the hand by a Johnny Cueto pitch. Here's a dribbler to the right side. They'll try to get the out at first. A run will score. So the shutout gone, but the Reds get an out. Their second out of the inning. Descalzo bounces out. The runner moves to second. And that'll bring up Corey Dickerson, who popped up, singled, and struck out. We watch this guy over the last couple of years, Chris, and yes, this is a hitter's ballpark, but you watch his approach. I mean, this is a kind of a hitter that if he stays healthy and playing in this park, I mean, he could join the long list of batting champions that the Rockies have. Hop back and out of play for strike 1.
Well, he can really hit, George, and he likes to swing the bat. Let me put it that way. He's only walked 7 times this year in 137 plate appearances. So there's a guy that comes out of their on-deck circle ready to swing the bat. He's almost like chasing stuff like a old Manny Sanguillen or Vladimir Guerrero. So sometimes if you can get ahead, you can just make him chase, and that's his own worst enemy. Look at that hack.
Doesn't get cheated, huh?
I'll tell you, times have changed. There used to be a time if you swung that hard at a guy throwing in the mid-90s, you'd be wearing the next pitch.
No matter what the score was.
Yeah. But in this case, the easy way out and the smart way out for Diaz is maybe elevate that fastball a little higher. Make Dickerson chase something off the plate. Pick up an out and nail this one down.
No balls, 2 strikes to Dickerson.
No, that was a balk.
That's it. Bob Davidson.
Started and stopped.
And a true balk from Jumbo Diaz. Take a look.
He started it was the first flinch that Jumbo did, and that's what Davidson picked up. And I think he's right.
They call him balking Bob, and that's clearly a balk. Bounce it down to short. Tricky hop off the leg of Suarez. A run's going to score. And it's now a 5-2 ball game. Well, we've seen some outstanding defensive plays by Suarez at short, but we've also seen some lapses. Here's one, Chris.
Well, just took a little quirky hop on him and just didn't get down there low enough. You never want that ball to go below your glove and between your glove and the dirt. And they're going to take Diaz out of the game and bring in Aroldis Chapman.
Now it's now a save opportunity. So time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. By Miller Lite for Johnny Cueto, number 47. Johnny, be good on this night, Chris. 8 innings of brilliant baseball.
Well, what more can you say about Johnny? He's one of my favorite guys to watch pitch for us. We've been blessed over the years, and I've said it many times over the last month or so. You know, Cueto, Bronson Arroyo, Jose Rijo, you know, 3 of the Reds that I look back on and just really look forward to their starts. And I'm not the only one. I'm sure Reds country is full of people thinking the same thing about Johnny Cueto.
You know, when you think back on it, you remember the efforts of Johnny Almaraz bringing him to Cincinnati, the efforts of Mario Soto spending so much time earlier in his career to help him understand the game in the United States, and the pep talks that Dusty Baker gave him, the work that Brian Price has given, the moments where he grew up as a baseball player and as a man. Here's Michael McHenry, who will pinch hit. McHenry, backup catcher and pinch hitter against Aroldis Chapman. Chapman trying to pick up the save with the runner on first, and they will play off the bag. Votto behind Dickerson. Five runs, 12 hits, and an error for the Reds. 2 runs, 6 hits, and 2 errors for the Rockies on this night. Runner going. There's a bouncer. Votto gloves it. Chapman to the bag and taps it. That'll do it. Well, it only took him 3 pitches, and Aroldis Chapman will get the job done. He'll finish off what was a remarkable night for Johnny Cueto and Todd Frazier. Frazier, a big 3-run home run to give the Reds a 4-0 lead. For Frazier, on the year, his 27th homer, but more importantly, the 100th career homer, and he did get the baseball thanks to Jim Day, who went trekking out to the right field seats. And Rob Butcher arranged a trade of a baseball signed by Frazier, and he's got that for his mantle. And the Reds have a W for their mantle on this day, Chris.
That's a nice comeback after losing that game last night in kind of an embarrassing fashion. So you start a road trip with tomorrow being the rubber game of a 3-game set here in Colorado before you head to St. Louis. It'll be good to see these guys come back out here tomorrow with the same kind of intensity they had tonight.
A whole lot more to talk about coming up. Reds Live, presented by Performance Kings Honda.